genuinely the feedback we got last time. I have not had as much feedback as up until that point as we had with your pod, because everyone got something from it.
We can also tell that you were the best.
Thank you, sir. I was with the best, so it rubs off the energy,
Yeah, well, hey, Sorry. Okay, so how have you been since we last caught up? How have you been?
I've been good. Life's been challenging. Amazon's been challenging. Every month, something or the other comes out. So, first there was the tariffs. Then there was the change in, payment terms with Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the fuel surcharge.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the ad payment changing. So it's like every day is something
Keep it on
new.
your toes, buddy.
Yep.
Are you ready to give up?
In business, it's not about giving up. It's about pivoting or diversifying. Every decision is sort of a cost benefit analysis. You're always looking for ROI. And with Amazon, with most people, that are in the game for say 6, 7, 8 years, like I have, and you guys as well. You create something, you build something, you actually build wealth, but you don't have it because it hasn't materialized yet. Right?
Yeah.
Where is this wealth?
It's in the brand that's selling on Amazon. It's in the rankings. It's in the product. This is the customer feedback.
Yeah.
Right. Those are all intangibles. You don't have it in your hand, and given that the market is getting more uncertain, given that all of these fees get structured, things become difficult. Supply chains are becoming uncertain because of the war. You think that there is wealth that we have created. And it's not just me, it's just everybody. It's the people that I'm working with, it's the marketing teams that I've been working with. Everybody has come together to create this wealth. And this wealth is an intangible. So we don't think about giving up, but one thing we do think about is, do we cash in this wealth? Do we materialize it? Or do we double down and we keep on building and doing these things? So
and you've chosen to double down.
Yes. So we do this calculation. We're like, okay, I guess the best way to go about it is we continuously do this calculation is, how much can we get out if we were to sell today, right? And then you think, well, what if I can get this money out of my business?
And just keep it for me anyway.
Right.
On an ongoing basis.
Because once you create something that, you are the most loyal person to that brand, right? Because it's your baby. Selling it away to somebody else or giving to somebody else who might not have the best interest for that, it's an emotional detachment. I mean, they say you should never have an emotional attachment to in business, but at the same time you want to do right by the brand, right? It's been done, it's done right by so many people. It's done right by me today, wherever I am, whatever confidence I have of making the right decisions of who I am is because of that brand, right? So I have to do right by that brand, right? So in that sense, you just want to make sure that if you pivot for the right reasons and in the right direction. But at the same time, if you can get that wealth from within the brand, then that's the best approach. And that requires, again, to our last conversation, a lot of cash management, a lot of discipline, a lot of financial discipline. Because in this environment, for example, we look at the tariffs. For our product, we went from 9% to 29% duties.
Massive.
Right? For the first few months, we said, forget P&L, forget the expense part of it.
Survival.
How are we going to sustain cash flow?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because P&L is later.
Yeah.
How are we going to pay the bills? And we all sat down, and at that time we were going on a growth trajectory. We were growing year on year. And we said we have to grow. But what that growth does is it doesn't keep any margin for it doesn't create a buffer. And so we had to change our strategy completely. When we went from a growth strategy to a profit retaining strategy. And the reason we wanted to gain profit is because instead of taking all of that money and channeling back into more sales, we said, hey, is there a way that we can create a buffer in cash so that we're able to pay for the tariffs? And that strategy really worked. And we'll come back to that because I think it actually helped with our rankings as well. So we'll pivot back to that discussion. And then soon after that, We heard that Amazon changed its payment terms. So in the tariffs to monetize, like put a number on it, about $300,000 to $350,000 suddenly went out of our cash flows. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
And then with the change of the Amazon structure, the payment terms, another 120 came out of our cash flows. So you're talking about $500,000,
Just gone.
just gone. And how do you, like, if you were to ask me this a year ago, Sameed, $500,000 is going to go out of your business cycle. How are you going to manage it? I'm like, I'm not going to be able to manage, right? It's just, but then we sat down, and that's where, again, my accounting background, my team, hats off to him, the guy that I work, Rakib, he's an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So we sat down and we're like, okay, how can we restructure this so that we're cash positive at all times? We have a buffer stock. And then we spoke to our marketing teams and we're like, hey, we need to pivot in a way that we want to go away from growth, maintaining rank, and increasing our profit. And of course, we weren't increasing our profit so that we can just go buy Rolexes, right? We were increasing our profit. So we have this buffer to meet all the changes that are coming in the market, or the government changes, or the supply chain changes.
Yeah.
And it has worked really well. So we were able to meet all of these issues headstrong. We did not increase our debt, which is great, amazing, because I hate debt. I mean, debt is a killer, and to have debt in this cycle would have just killed us.
Yeah.
And it actually helped us retain our ranking, because what was happening was that when we were going for growth, we were overspending. We were getting the growth, but when we pulled off, that's what our feeling is. Of course, everybody has a different take on it. That our conversion rates went really high, because now we're only spending enough, and Amazon seeing this. Okay, these guys are spending. They're bringing the optimal amount of traffic, and then the conversion rate's high. So we were able to maintain our rank. We were able to increase cash flow, and we were able to fund everything. So far everything has been great.
Yeah.
But then if your business is not growing sales, then eventually you're gonna die out, because competition is heavy.
Aggressive.
So now we're figuring out, okay, how do we channel funds in to grow where we need to grow? So that's sort of been our entire process.
Is that kind of like looking at business through an evolution, or is it this model is what you should have been doing from the beginning? Because it sounds like there's one overall arching strategy that we had, which was the growth strategy. Now it's like a profitability sustaining strategy. Now we're pivoting back towards, or trying to explore a growth space again, but with a different flavor, I think. It's not the same type of growth. In your mind, does that mean that what Amazon brands or brands that are selling online should be doing is either kind of like sticking to one core strategy, one of the ones that you've mentioned now, like maybe where we're going right now with Bumble, or is it the understanding that you need to constantly be reinventing the business?
I think that's what it is. Every single day, new challenges come, and if you're too strict in your strategy, and if you're not malleable, then you will get stuck. So I think you have to, in cricketing terms, you have to read the pitch, you have to read the match situation, you have to understand what are the strengths of the bowler, and you have to understand what are your strengths. In every single pitch or delivery, you have to play accordingly.
Yeah.
So your fundamentals have to be strong and the same. Your values have to be strong. So your value set of decision making has to be strong. Is it what's right for the brand? What is right for the consumer? Why am I doing this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have all of those fundamentals right, then you have to pivot and change according to the situation. And that's what we're doing. And I don't see it as continuously changing your strategy. I see it as taking steps.
Mm-hmm.
So as you go up a mountain, each mountain is not straight. It has steeps, it has curves, it has different divergence you need to take, but you're going up, right? Because with this way up, you're always going up.
Of course,
So-
that's the way we're wrong.
Right. But going up is not always a straight path. Sometimes you have to take circles, sometimes you have to go diagonally. And I think that's the thing in business, that as long as you are going up, you have to keep on finding different ways to sort of circumnavigate those obstacles. And sometimes it goes from a growth strategy, or sometimes it goes from profit strategy because you have to maintain cash. And to your point, it will keep on changing. It will keep on changing according to the situation. But I think in the stronger part is not so much what you're doing, but when you're doing it. And when do you realize? You need to realize way in advance that a change is coming and you need to prepare. If you take these measures after the fact,
It's too late.
it's too late. And I think that awareness and that readability is very important. So we say having, I don't know how to put it in words, but having your finger on the nerves or having your finger on the pulse.
On the pulse, I was about
Right?
to say.
That's So when you have your finger on the pulse, you exactly know what's going on, and you're able to react in time. And I think that is more important, because then you have options to react on. You need to know the pros and cons, and then whatever decision you make, you have enough time to make the right decision. So I think that's, and even if you make a wrong decision, you have time.
Yeah.
If you're late, then forget about it.
So I'm going to take a slight pivot. Yesterday we were talking about different business operating styles. One is kind of very numbers, profit oriented. The other one is very product oriented.
Yes.
Given this conversation and how things are going in terms of just Amazon becoming more competitive,
Right.
where do you think the balance lies? Do you think the balance lies more towards a numbers, profit-driven operation, or this kind of like create an amazing product and the people will come?
So when I started, I was a product person. I was like, I'm going to make the best towel I can for the right price. And I'm not going to sacrifice on those values. And I'm very grateful that I haven't sacrificed on those values till now. Okay. There has been times when, different teams or, internal teams were like, hey, can we cheapen the product? Can we change the construction of it? Can we change the packaging of it? And I said, no, that's not something that we're not going to do. And I'm very grateful. Look, this is something to be grateful about, because life can put you in a situation where you have to do that. I'm not saying it's an ethically right or ethically wrong decision. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. I'm grateful that I haven't had so far to make such sacrifices. Having said that, when I started my brand, I was very product focused. I was like, I'm going to give the right thing. And these are values that have been passed on to me from my father and my grandfather, because we've all been in a product-based textile business. So I'm grateful to the learnings, and I'm grateful for that.
And they create an awesome product, right?
Yes. But as I moved higher and higher, and as my business grew, I soon realized that if I don't have this sense of numbers and the sense of profit and the sense of cash, no matter how good my product is, I will never be able to scale and never be able to make money. And when we are in business, it means you're in business for profit. If you're making a good product and you're not making money, that's charity. So I soon had to remind myself, Sameed, you need to pay the bills, and this product has to make money. And that's when I started saying, okay, this is the product. Now I have to find ways of making it money. So there were a lot of products that we discontinued that were amazing products. I still get emails saying, we used to find this bed sheet in our grandmother's home, and now wherever we go, we can't find them. Why don't you make them? And for us, it was such a cash intensive and costly process to make, where we wouldn't make enough ROI to sustain it.
And that's so hard, because I get those too. And I'm like, oh, I really want to give you that product, but
because that's your pride, right?
It just doesn't work. Yeah.
So the way we have adjusted to it, we've selected those products that give us more cash turn, more inventory turn, because the faster you can turn inventory and cash, it's easy. Exactly. With the idea that if we have the extra cash, we will do those products. But of course, cash turn and inventory turn takes precedence, right? And the margins. So to answer your question, it is a balance. I strongly believe, at least for myself, that if I'm just completely numbers focused, I will not last long enough. If I'm completely product focused, I will not last long enough.
Yeah.
So to create something that's sustainable for years and years and years, and people might argue that, hey, I'm 10 years in, I'm still lasting. Well, that's not lasting. You know, a company that lasts 50, 60, like multi-generations is a product that lasts, because in retail, you will see brands come and go, right? So a lot of brands in the US when we were young were like, you know, the pillars of society,
Yeah.
right? Brooks Brothers. Well,
Yeah.
it's in bankruptcy now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can just name. So what happened there, right? Their product is amazing, but they weren't able to change with the you know, the time and you know, cash
And
flow and
evolve.
all of those things. So it is a perfect balance. It has to be a perfect balance. Yes, it also can differ to that extent that what's your target market, and could your target market could be people that are looking for the value, right? Then it will be more value, less product. It could be a market target market that looks for premium products. So there will be, so it
So the
changes,
products,
but your core has to be aligned to your target market.
Here's the thing. I don't think you can come at that approach from the money, the number side. I think you have to start from the product side, right? I think that's why, because ultimately what you're talking about with when you're starting a new product is if you just focus on the numbers, you probably don't get out of the starting blocks. With a really good quality product, you'll get going, it'll start moving. And we know for a fact, anything that we do, unless you've got a solid product, there's no point. We're not magicians.
we can't
100%.
sell.
Can't sell a bad product, right? But that means what you then need to do is, once you've got a good product, is figure a way to survive. And that's where the numbers, and I think that's where a lot of brands kind of trip over. They get the product bit right, but then don't focus quickly enough on the number side.
Right.
But here's a question for you. If you were starting a completely new product, fresh, what is your approach on what's your timeline? How much time do you give a product to get going before you start bringing those numbers in? What's the critical point where you make that switch and start putting that balance into place?
I mean, that's a very difficult question because so many products are so different, you know. But just to give you an example, in 2016, I decided that I want to create premium bath towels that people could afford on a normal price, right? And they don't have to pay a premium for it. They have to pay for whatever goes in it. So when they're buying the product, they should not feel like we're paying premium for a brand. They should feel that, oh, I'm paying premium because this product is premium, right? It took me about a year and a half to 2 years to develop my product, right?
Yeah.
And when I started in 2018, because we were cash strapped, it took us about 2 to 3 years to even turn profit, right? So if we're looking at my journey, I would say from inception to where you've stabilized, it's a good 4 to 5 year journey. And after that, you need to scale. And I think profitability and cash flow comes in scaling. You can settle a good product, you know, you can get by, but when it's scaling, how do you scale? Because if it doesn't have enough margin, how do you get the cash and put it back in to grow, right? Again, we were cash strapped. We did not get outside funding. And I believe you should not get outside funding. I mean, like, again, that's very personal, but I believe you should not get outside funding in the first few years, because that's where you're understanding, does the market accept my product for what it is? When you get outside funding, you have this muscle that you can just push. And when you push, you could get wrong feedback because you're actually pushing so much. People are bound to buy it, right?
That's really interesting because we get this. I mean, there's so many brands I can think of, some of which we've actually represented, that have a lot of external funding before they launch. They get a lot of distribution really quickly. Some of them make it.
Right.
Quite a few of them don't. And that's a really different approach to. I think obviously, like, Sameed is more authentic. It's very like grassroots. And for anyone who's kind of like listening and they're like, I want to start this brand, I want to kind of get things going. Yours is that path, right? Cash strapped, you did it all yourself and grew it. For some of the other ones that we've seen, it's like, I'm going to get external funding, I'm going to kick back, get a lot of visibility, or do a lot of education. And then once I've got that together, then I'm going to pull back and we'll turn a profit. Really different approaches. I really like it.
I think the second one, you plan for it, but you don't know if it's going to happen. Number one. Number two, when you do so much push, it's not organic, right? So you don't know if it's sustainable. You don't know it's viable. You just know that you're pushing and people are buying. But why are there's the pull
buying?
is not there. It's like a push. It's not a pull. And in retail, I believe it has to be a pull. The consumers have
I
to
agree.
drive the demand rather than the producer having to push.
I think this is where I have a problem with the whole external funding thing, right?
Okay, you go, because I've thought on this.
All right, so my problem is that generally that funding round happens before you've tested if this pull exists.
Yeah.
Right? My feeling is that really speaking, you want to see that pull.
Yeah.
That proof of concept that is actually working. But the way funding is generally structured, it's around an idea, a concept, and then we pull a whole load of market data together
to back the idea.
to prove that thesis.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, the beauty of Amazon actually is that you can do an MVP. You can test something, you can put it out there. And I would just point out, I'm presuming there are high quality products that you put out there that just didn't work, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You might think that your product's going to work because you believe in your product. You want to believe. So whatever data that says it might not, you're just like, no, that's not true, right? And the second thing I want to say to you is when you go the organic route, the consumer decides if your product will work or not. Not data, not science. It's the actual purchase. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, there's a difference when the consumer says, I will buy your product. And there's a difference when the consumer says, I'm going to buy a product with giving you a profit for it. The first route, because you have no choice, you have to break even or you have to make profit. You have to make sure the product works, where not only does the consumer like it, but they're willing to give you enough money for you to sustain that product. When you have so much fund, you might make a loss. Consumer likes it. So you're not really determining if the consumer likes it and is willing to give you a profit for it.
Well, this is the thing. I don't disagree to some regard. Because obviously, if you get funding, the people who are investing want to see that there's some funding coming in, there's some profit coming in, there's a break-even point at some point, right? But some products require that initial kickstart. And so, and I use kickstart with intention because there's two types of kind of external funding. One is like a Kickstarter program, right? So you kind of pitch your idea to a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
They go, actually, I do like that. I'm going to fund your first production round because you don't have enough cash to do the first production. That one I think fits quite closely to what you're saying because you sell the idea and actual customers are funding you.
Yeah.
Right? So that one. Then there's the other model, which is I'm going to go to a VC or some kind of investment house somewhere. I'm going to pull some cash and I'm going to launch my product, right? That investment house is really looking at this as saying, one of two things is going to happen. One is going to turn a profit, become profitable, and we can keep it and it's going to be a cash machine. Or it'll turn a profit and we can pass it on to someone else, right? Some things I feel like require that. So like there's a company that I know now. They've invented this, they have this amazing technology and I was looking at their deck this morning. So 96% of most people in the UK are not meeting their fiber needs.
Okay.
So only 4% of the population is getting fiber needs. Yeah. They have a means where through normal products, biscuits, all kinds of stuff, you can way surpass those fiber needs plus protein and everything else you need, right? But for them to get that going, they need that cash injection from somewhere to get their production round because theirs isn't they can't just go and just turn the switch and get going. Some products I feel I need this. Maybe the balance lies, and I don't want to just do this just to find some kind of golden mean, but where there's kind of if you do go for external funding, you have a really clear objective of turning a profit with a closer break-even point, and this is literally just to catalyze the growth.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with external funding is not with the product part of it. Because of course,
it's with the artificial nature
it's
of
the
things.
marketing part of it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you need money to build a product, I understand that. Of course, everybody needs money to build a product. You take a loan from someone, you know.
It's the idea of that demand, generating demand. But what if your product requires education, right? So you have to educate the market about. I'm going to use a really hypothetical one. Okay, towels. Everyone knows a towel, right? I get a towel. I know roughly what to do with it.
Yeah.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
But say mushroom coffee. Right? Or even my own category, coconut water.
Yeah.
Right? You need to kind of push to get the idea and create the category almost. Some spaces kind of like need to do that because, do you want a car or do you want a faster horse?
Right.
Most people would have said a faster horse, right?
I think the best way to go about this is say that if you do have external funding, be very aware that you have to make profit.
Yeah.
Soon, number one. Be very aware that you have a power where you can push sales. So be very smart about that, right? Because it can give you wrong data. So you just have to be more responsible. And the last thing
I think that bit's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Last thing is it's having if you're learning how to walk, it's like having a crutch or like some sort of a system that helps you run and walk, which is fine. Sometimes you need that. Okay.
Yeah.
We cannot argue that that's wrong.
But
or
once
right.
it's gone, can you still walk?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what happens is two things. Once the crutch is gone, can you still sustain? Because your entire business working, your cash management, your buying of goods or marketing is you've never had to think about. You know that you have cash. But what happens when the cash is not there? Can you sustain?
Yeah.
And then how do you grow?
Yeah.
Because if you can sustain, but you can't generate enough cash to then grow, are you going to go for it? That's why you have round 2 and you have round 3 and Series A and Series B. And then this doesn't end.
And that bit I completely agree on. I think that's fundamentally important.
I agree totally on that. But I think there's another... So we look at data. We look at lots of brands come to us and talk. And there's one thing that everyone wants to know is, can you do a forecast? Right?
Yeah.
Tell me, crystal ball, tell me what's going to happen in the future. And with a lot of... the point we always make is, look, we can see how the market's reacting to products that are in the market. But unless your product's there,
we can't see what's going on.
It's really hard to give any degree of certainty. However, what we do see with some brands, and again, this can be slightly frustrating for us, is we can see exactly what you've said. So we can see a product, we can see how it's selling. They're dipping their toe in, right? But we can see the pull. There are certain key metrics that tell you there's a pull, but they're nervous to jump in because they don't understand those pull metrics. And so, and one of their biggest problems is it's a huge risk for them. They're going to have to borrow money or put money that they don't have in there. And it's how do I mitigate against that? But there are clear pull metrics, and that's what I think you're kind of getting at. That's what you need to be looking for. It's those pull metrics that tell you, yes, this has got some traction. This is gonna go.
And the last thing, I mean, again, this is very subjective, right? Because I've been through a journey that I was successful, and I'm grateful for that. And there are a lot of people that are in that position where they've gotten really. So it's very hard. It's not right for me to comment because I'm not in those shoes. So everybody is different, and nothing is right or wrong. But one thing I know for a fact that there were times, especially during COVID, when my business went upside down. And every single day I wanted to quit. Okay? And we covered a bit of this in the last podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't have an option to quit. I didn't have...
You burned the boats. This had to work.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, if I quit, I would have lost all of my money.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a choice.
There's only forward.
Right? If I had external funding and just a limited part of my money was in there, I was like, okay, fine. It's a business. You lose. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would have walked away. But I just didn't have that. Like, that it was basically saying, sell your house. Or are you going to sell your house? So I was put back in a position that I said, I need to get out of this.
Yeah.
And then I got out of it.
I've got a question, guys, on that. This is a bit more philosophical, but there's a philosophy called the sunk cost fallacy. And you mentioned there that you'd already driven all your money into it and you didn't want to lose all your money. Do you know have you heard of the sunk?
Yes. 100%.
So how do those
How's it
philosophies,
reconcile?
how does that
Why double down
in your mind?
Okay. So this goes back to the fundamentals. We talked about having the right product, testing the product to the market, self-funding it and being successful. So the reason till 2020, we knew our product was good. It was self-funding. We were getting the reviews. It was creating profit. It was the growth, the hyper growth in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
which can be mirrored by external funding if someone does external hyper growth, and then sudden changing in consumer behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew from all the metrics that the reason I'm upside down is not because of my product. It is not because of the acceptability of product in the market. And it's not because the consumer is not willing to give me enough money for me to be profitable. I knew that.
The fundamentals are still right.
The fundamentals were right. And that's exactly why you want to have a fundamentally correct business going in.
Mm-hmm.
What I had done was I had played the wrong hand in COVID. And my question was, how do I get out of this wrong hand? Like, how do I fix this?
Mm-hmm.
So I could clearly see a path. That path just was very, very, very long. And it was very hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can have a completely whole podcast on this because I've never been so down in my life.
But then you met us.
Yes, exactly. And that's a whole different story. But this is where my father came in and he gave me an example. He said, Sameed, you're sitting in a bus and you've dropped a penny. And that's the only penny you have. And that penny is on the floor of the bus. If you get out right now on this next station, because life is like a bus station. Every stop, you meet people, you do things, and then if you get out of this bus, next stop, from this bus station, you will never be successful in your life. But if you stay in the bus and find your penny and pick up that penny, you will never be unsuccessful in your life. But basically, you'll never fail because you'll always understand that from failure, you're able to get up. And so he kept on saying, if your product is right, if the consumer has decided that the product is right, not you're saying, oh, my product is good. If you can see a path to profitability and you can do it yourself, like as in self-funding, then you need to stay in the bus and find the penny. And I was like, what is this? Like, what is this penny? And I was like, because I had no choice.
Yeah.
I sat on the bus and I kept on looking for the penny. And that means you
And
getting down on the floor.
Now you got a whole load of other pennies.
Now you got a
Yes.
whole bunch of pennies.
Exactly.
Yeah, a couple million of them. Well
and that
done.
literally meant I had to put myself down on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get my hands dirty, get my knees dirty, and find that penny. And once I found that penny, guess what?
You found a couple others.
Yep.
All right. So here's a question because I know you've done the math.
Yeah.
You've reached exit velocity. You've got this option now.
Yeah.
Right. You can walk away now.
Yes.
But you're choosing not to. And because I know you've done the math,
Yes.
what is it that you're seeing that makes you confident that the better probability, the better option is to stick?
I'm actually seeing that a lot of my products have potential to ranking really well. Number one. If they do rank really well, they can create enough cash flow. And they can create enough cash flow that maybe not now, but in the next 3 years, I can create that wealth that I would if I sell the brand today. Okay, that's number one. The reason I'm seeing all of these things is because I do see that Amazon still is a very strong marketplace and it's only going to grow.
It's growing. Right? It is
Right.
growing. The data is telling us it's growing. Yeah.
And it's only going to grow. And it's become part and parcel of consumer lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? So everywhere we go, we see retailers dying. It keeps on, I mean, we're talking about brick and mortar, right? So especially in the US, different world is different, but like the US, Amazon. And then the funny thing is in US there is no other like strong competitor. I mean, there is Walmart, but it's not on the same level. If you go on the rest of the world, there are 5 or 6 top competitors, out of which 3 are dominating the market, right? So the Gulf, you have 2 or 3. India, you have 2 or 3.
Even in Europe,
China,
France,
there's
a whole bunch.
across Europe.
Yeah.
But US market, Amazon has really, it almost has a monopoly, to be honest. So that's number one. We are in a segment where consumers need our product. It's a utility-based product, right? It's not something that is a luxury. It's not like, hey, you need a towel, you need a shower, you need a towel.
I air dry.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Yeah. So So that's the other thing. And because our product is such, is been a high quality product, or not high quality, it's a good quality product. It's in these need segments, and we've able to sustain rankings over the last 7-8 years. And these categories have become so saturated that we know new entrants, there's no space for new entrants. Right? So if you combine all of these things, it gives us a signal that we should stay and stick in. The only question that we have, right, is how much is the market going to change in terms of Amazon policies? How much is it going to change from government policies?
Yeah.
How much is going to say from supply chain policies? So all of our sort of worries are external worries to a point. It's not to do with our business performance. It's all the factors that are out of our control. And that's where we get a bit nervous. And we realize that we need to have cash in hand to be able to meet these obstacles.
So the future is bright, you think?
Future is bright if you have cash in hand. And I feel like that applies to everything. Real estate, have cash in hand.
Yeah.
Stocks, have cash in hand. Right? Anything you want to do in the next 2 to 3 years, have cash in hand, because there will be amazing opportunities for everybody. So if you can have cash in hand,
have a little war chest.
Yeah, and have your own cash in hand. Don't have somebody else's.
Someone else's.
Well, you could have a word with Amazon then, because they're spending all their cash and they're putting their hands into your pockets at the moment. So,
yeah.
I've got another question. We speak a lot about an Amazon-only strategy in today's world not being enough.
Yeah.
And the fact you need things like socials like TikTok and Meta for top-of-funnel awareness, and possibly also other marketplaces. Okay. Now, as far as I'm aware, you are currently 100% Amazon.
Yeah.
Some Walmart, but mainly.
Yeah, it's very little Walmart. We have a Shopify website, but we don't do any marketing. We have an Instagram page, but we don't post on there anymore. I mean, this was by design. I didn't have the funds, so I had to choose what to do. And I was like, I am just going to go for ranking on Amazon. And for us, and I think for most brands, if your category is big enough, if you can get that 1, 2, or 3 spot for your major keywords, you get enough business that you don't need to look anywhere else, to be honest. And I think that was the biggest reason when we were starting off. There were a lot of home textile brands coming up, like Parachute Home, Brooklyn, and they were creating their own websites. Their Instagram was beautiful, and a lot of buzz was going on. I looked into it, and I was like, the amount of marketing, like cash you need to create these assets is tremendous. Yeah. And that's the reason I went into Amazon, is because I'm in a marketplace. Everybody's searching there. Most of your searches are starting from there. So visibility is there. I just need to convince Amazon's algorithm and the consumers that I am the right product for that keyword. And once I did that, I mean, my returns were so much higher because I'm not spending not hundreds and thousands of dollars in marketing. Yeah. And trying to show myself. I'm convincing Amazon's algorithm that people convert on my product and they review my product well, and then they come back to it. So for me, it's a very organic journey, right? It's like, you're putting your product out there. Yes, you're doing some marketing to get visibility. People are buying. They're liking it. They're putting good reviews. And it's the market who's dictating your product success. And once you're able to crack it, then if you just keep on investing in that, it grows tremendously. And for me, it has grown tremendously. And we've seen like 2x growth every year based on that strategy. So we never ever thought about going other routes. Because all of the other routes, yes, it gives you the sense of, what if Amazon was to go down, or what if listing was to go down. But at the same time, it's a distraction, because now my focus is all of my inventory is going to Amazon. All of my marketing money is going to PPC or going into maintaining rank. So it's like I only have one focus. Whereas if you have this multi-channel focus, then you have to worry about your inventory. And once you rank, we know how important inventory is to ranking. Yeah. My PPC strategy, right? I really need my PPC strategy not just to grow, but to hold rank and maintain rank. So for us, it's more of a focus. And when you have limited funds, you ought to go for one place. And I'm pretty sure if your category is big enough, you should focus on one. Unless you're going for valuation, or because when you want to sell, people want to see that
Or
you can sell
omni-channel approach.
omni-channel, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going for diversifying your portfolio where you're scared
Mhm.
that I need multiple sales channels because Amazon's too risky.
Mhm.
So maybe 10 years from now, that might be a error that I've made and I might have to pivot. But for right now, it has worked.
It allows you to run a very lean team, right?
Yes.
That is crucial.
Exactly. My entire structure is very lean.
Yeah.
And it's all variable cost structure.
Mhm.
So God forbid if something were to happen tomorrow, my inventory is not in 10 places. I don't have like 10 people running 10, my supply chain is focused. So again, I can remain lean, I can control my cash, and I can find a way to survive. And that's all about having cash in hand, finding ways to survive and be resilient.
You promised us at the beginning this was going to come back around to ranking, and it kind of has. So
Yes.
thank you for
Yes.
I
that.
love that.
Yes.
I feel like there's a bit of a time warp when we chat to Sameed. We could keep going. I'd love to keep going. Maybe there'd be a third part
We'll
to
just
this.
pick up next time,
yeah.
To this
Yeah.
pod. But thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One
Take
love.
care. One love.
One love,
Take care.
team.
One
Bye
love.
bye.
Peace.
Before we finish recording, David, can you please not miss the fact that he said he air dries? There's a Cuba Gooding Jr.
That's what I was
scene.
referencing.
I know where it was referencing from.
Yeah.
We have
I
to
air
get that
dry.
in. He air dries. And would you just for the camera, please just do a show me the money? Please.
What is that from Jerry Maguire?
Yes.
Is it? I
Yes.
watched that, like,
That's
the
where the
other
air
week.
drying reference came
Yes,
from.
100%.
I know. Obviously, I know. Show me the money, but I didn't know the air drying.
I reference so many movies in the stuff I do, but no one picks them up. But Sameed got that one. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Show me the money, baby.
No, you gotta do it properly.
No. This is for the start.
yeah.
Help me, help you. Help me, help you. That's another reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam,
Anyway.
you complete me.